What up everybody, Adam Leach here. Welcome to the channel. I've got a music channel now. This is a long time coming. I want to do some reviews, some discussions, some news, and to christen this YouTube ship, I thought why not do N9ne's ASIN9NE as my first album review. Now I would try to count and tell you what number album this is for him, but quite honestly, I would die in this chair where I sit. Because between EPs, LPs, compilation albums, we gotta be nearing 40 albums. I mean, it's ridiculous. So where does ASIN9NE sit in his tapestry of work? How is his style evolving? Before we get into that, I just want to get into this. Music is very subjective. I'm not right. I'm not wrong. You're not right, you're not wrong. We all experience art differently. So don't take my reviews as gospel. Form your own opinion. Be nice to me, be nice to the artist, be nice to each other. So let's get into it. This album opens with a song called The Herder. It opens with a little spoken word part. It's dropped down in pitch. It's a typical thing N9ne does in his music. And it says, after your fear exodus, everything you do in this world ran by fearmongers and their followers will seem extremely stupid. Now this is partially a reference to his previous 3 projects, the last of which was called Fear Exodus, just like that line says. But I feel like this is unnecessary as an intro. To be honest, it's kind of corny, it's kind of overused, but mostly it doesn't go with the album's theme. It's not poetic, it's not part of a thematic skit, it's just, it feels out of place. It honestly kind of just feels like a pitched down spoken word reading of your uncle's Facebook rant that you didn't ask for. Now next in the intro we have a backwards spoken word. Do not think for a second that this is disrespectful at all. This piece right here is what you would call a mere flex. So he's telling us he's about to flex on us, and at 50 years old and doing the whole thing independently, I think that he has some room to flex. So let's hear him out. The Herder gives us a classic dark tech beat, groovy live drum set, some chunky guitar and organ. I love all the layered vocals in the verses as well as the big choir-esque vocals on the hook, and the bridge specifically leading into the last chorus is really dope. It's a N9ne song. He's essentially referring to himself as the herder of goats. He's saying that when he rhymes, when he releases a verse, it's pushing the game further. Now, in terms of a lyricist, I don't put N9ne next to somebody like Nas, a Royce the 5'9", a Eminem. He's not that type of lyricist. He doesn't hide a lot of entendres. He doesn't hide a lot of golden nuggets. What he does is he has versatility. He has speed. He's mastered different flows and cadences, and his rhyme schemes are really not rivaled by that many people. So he feels, and I kind of feel too, that he's worthy of some sort of self-proclaimed title after this long. That leads us into the next song titled I Don't Fit. This is another song where he's flexing, saying that he doesn't fit into the mold. He built different. We got 2 features on this song. We got Seuss Mace and King ISO. I'm not really familiar with Seuss Mace, but they do an all right job. King ISO is really chopping it up, holding his own. They really fit the mold of this song and keep up with tech really well. The song itself is kind of repetitive. It's nothing too creative or groundbreaking, but it's probably a good gym track, just not my favorite of the bunch. Then we get into the song Kick It Her, which kind of has a corny, overused intro again, basically saying,
warning, this song is a banger and you're gonna blow your speakers because we go so hard.
I've heard it before. This is another strange music trope they've done in multiple songs before. I feel like you don't need to tell me that the song is gonna be a banger. Turn down your speakers. Your song's not gonna blow my speakers, and if it's a banger, it will speak for itself, so let it speak for itself. An artist by the name of Standout is on the hook. I'm not 100% sure whether I'm pronouncing that right. Man, he's got a killer accent. He fits the song perfectly. He's got crazy vocal presence. I really like the hook on this track. This beat slaps. It's got big, reverby, almost industrial type of sounds. Tech gives us some versatility in the verses, but it almost feels unstructured, or like he was just kind of in the studio winging it. And this song, like many songs of his, if I'm honest, has some lyrical moments where I'm listening and I'm reading the lyrics and I'm like, what is he talking about? Tech has kind of come up with like his own language in his music, and without being inside his head, I don't know what his lyrics mean. And here's like an example. He says, everything free because I'm a guru, true, go shop and want to do blue, but muscle memory is telling me sue woo, chicken lasagna to chew. Now obviously Tech has repped blood for a long time, so I know between the blue and the sue woo, like we're talking about gang activity. He references later a gun and shooting, so there are some good lyrics in there, but at the same time, like chicken lasagna to chew, I cannot seem to wrap my head around what that is doing in the verse and what it means. And I hear this all the time in his music. Like I'll be reading the lyrics, I'll be like, okay, and then there'll be like a bar or two that I'm like, What are you talking about? I don't know. We then get into the song Too Good, which I love the smooth singing intro from Moo Moo Fresh. Sounds buttery smooth on the hook. The beat is spacey and vibey, and Tech is throwing a lot of different cadences in the mix. And again, I want to read some of his lyrics, not just to show you his lyrical gymnastics, but to also highlight another one of the kind of strange lyrical habits that he has that I think it turns some people off. He says, one of the coolest to rep my sect, only the half-foolish neglect projects. Coming from the newest, then blessed by tech, clergy of crazed, worthy of praise, like Anubis and Wep while wet. Dismiss what I play to thee, a day moo could muster wrong shug. Slick spit from a hater see, all the crew stood over strong wood. Mystics with the fate of tea, that I move hoods, pray a song should. Critics, what they say to me is that I'm too good for my own good. So we do have some more gymnastics in there. We got some good lyricism. We've got some good flow switches. We've got some good rhyme schemes. He talking about blessed by tech, worthy of praise. And then he references Anubis and Wep while wet, which are both Egyptian gods. And then we've got a Demu could muster wrong shug. This is an example of, I'm struggling to see exactly what he means. Demu, I think, is some sort of Mesopotamian god. I don't know what shug means in reference to a Mesopotamian god, unless he's talking about Demu, which is Suge Knight's dog. But regardless, I'm not sure where that fits in. Maybe that's just going over my head. Mystics with the fate of T. Who is T? What is T? Where does that fit in? I don't know. But the main point I want to make is there's something weird he does with his lyrics that I think is part of the reason why some people that like him say that they feel like he's corny. Just look at the last couple lines. Critics, what they say to me is that I'm too good for my own good. Now in normal English, we would say, critics say to me. What the critics say to me. Critics tell me. But he says, critics, what they say to me. If I wrote an essay and put that, my English teacher would be like, no, that's unnecessary.
Insubordinate and churlish.
It sounds bizarre. It almost sounds like we're listening to old English. Critics, what they say to me. And he does that a lot, like a lot. I think that's part of the reason why people say that he sounds corny sometimes. Regardless, that's his style. You just got to get used to it. Now, Lil Wayne is a nice addition on this track. He's got a nice verse. He's got some golden nuggets in there. There's a little bit where he says, I don't do computers, but I sip high tech. I don't do computers, but my chips like that. I don't do computers, but my shooters put a bullet wound in your apple. It looked bit like Mac. Cool, he's saying the same thing over and over again. But there's some lyricism in there. There's some double and triple entendres. Chips, not just chips like computer chips, but money chips. Talk about put a bullet wound in your apple. Well, an apple is a type of computer, but an apple is also a head. So he's putting a bullet wound in your head. It looked bit like Mac. Well, the apple in Mac has a bite out of it. Well, he's shooting you in the head. So it's also like a bite's out of your head, but also a bit like a bit of information, a gigabit, a megabit, like Mac, like a bit like a computer. So that's like a triple entendre. That leads us into a song called No Seams, where Tech is basically venting his frustrations and calls out keyboard warriors and people starting drama behind his back but not showing up to his face. And it's a bop. It just is. This intro is a better example of how to use that lowered vocal spoken word if you're gonna do it, because it's poetic. It matches the theme of the song, it rhymes, I'll allow it. The beat is hot, I love the aggression. Tech picks multiple flows and rides the beat perfectly. We got Russ on the hook doing a good job, and Snow the Product does her thing as always. That's a good song. And then we get into Faceoff. How could I not like it? I mean, first of all, Tech is coming through again, switching his flows multiple times, riding the beat like a monster. We got Joey Cool and King ISO holding their own on this track. And then we've got The Rock. The Rock is on this song. Seriously, the only thing left for The Rock to do is to run for president, which he's probably doing. Now, not that this one verse The Rock does in one take is like redefining hip hop, or it is like, oh,
hail the magic conch.
But I mean, it's the freaking Rock, and it's a cool verse, and it makes people want to get up and pump some iron. It's a good track. This song slaps. This one is definitely going in a lot of workout playlists. Leaving Faceoff, we have Clydesdale. This song is kind of a miss to me, I gotta be honest. If it weren't for Tech's energy and the way that he rides the beat, this song would have very few redeemable qualities, quite honestly. It's a typical rap song about a girl with a donk. I mean, what do you want? Like, it's been done a million times. It just kind of lacks originality, creativity. It feels kind of lazy. The hook is weak. And E40, he doesn't say anything. He says a whole lot of nothing. So putting that song in the rearview mirror, we have a song titled Still Right Here. Tech starts out with this specific predictable flow that he seems to fall back on a lot when he does these slow, heartfelt songs. As a longtime fan, I've heard it a lot. There are a few shining moments in this song where he goes a more melodic, almost singy type of route rather than rapping, and I honestly wish he would have stuck with that. Like, that would have made this song a lot better. If I were a producer on this song, I would have had him experiment with that a little more. I would have spiced up the beat with something extra because it's a little boring. I would have gave the hook a little more depth, maybe added some layers or some effects or changed it a little, and I would have dropped the feature and gone solo or just added another vocalist. I do appreciate the spoken word at the end of the song though. We then get into the song Take Your Halo. This is a song ultimately where Tech is again calling out some select strange music artists of the past and toxic fans that have turned on him, who obsess and spread rumors. This is a stronger track to me. It feels a little more inspired. The beat is a vibe, the hook is groovy, kind of has old Tech9ne energy. Then in Knock That Noodle, we get a song that's mostly about violence in Kansas City. The beat is simple, but it's a banger. Tech again rides the beat very well from the jump, and his flow kind of bounces with the beat. It's groovy. I love this hook. It's one of the strongest hooks on this album. I love it when Tech embraces modern hip hop sounds and adopts them to his style. It's also worth noting that I love in Tech's last verse, going in to the final chorus, there's this little distant spacey synth keyboard sound that kind of helps build into that final hook, and I really like it. It's just a good addition. We then get into Heighten. Now this is a track where this is classic Tech9ne, where the theme is shifting to a darker tone. It's just tickling a little bit of like a horrorcore vibe here, just a little bit. He tells us a story diving past his angelic exterior into his more dark and disturbed personal interior and dark thoughts. Casual people just running into this album, it probably won't dig this, but old Tech9ne fans are gonna appreciate this. We then continue with that dark vibe with What Rhymes with Threat'll Kill Ya. And this track, it sticks with the dark theme and offers us a like dubstep infused banger. The beat is sick. He gives us a simple but effective throaty chorus, which is mostly comprised of those dubsteppy sounds. And the lyrics are violent. I mean, decapitation, stabbing, nails in urethras. It paints a picture.
I love to paint.
Oh, really?
I love to paint.
Oh, wow. Are you any good?
I don't know.
I gotta be honest, I had no clue what this song was about at first. I was like, what rhymes with threat'll kill ya? Okay, threat. Wet, get, pet, met. Why are these things killing me? It's not what rhymes with threat, it's what rhymes with threat will kill ya, and the answer is pedophilia. So the song is kind of a violent depiction against pedophilia and against pedophiles of sorts, which, I mean, you can't argue with that, but it's just kind of a threat'll kill ya. Like,
we should make a song where we speak out against pedophilia. What rhymes with that?
I don't know, let's throw this random sentence together.
we then get into the track I've Been Through a Lot. This is a nice chorus. We got some more melodic singing type of Tech9ne in the verses, which you know I love, and this track is probably a better example of how to do a slower song. Then in Dial It Back, we have another slow, more heartfelt type of track. I like that Tech again chose to go with a more melodic route in his verse instead of going back to that previously mentioned default slow song flow that he sometimes does. That being said, this one is honestly nothing to write home about musically. It's kind of a boring track. I don't feel like Tech has mastered the art of making encapsulating slow tracks. Like, more often than not, those are the ones that I'm gonna end up skipping. Every now and then he hits, but a lot of the slow tracks I feel like are his weakness. Then in Zaza, the intro, again, not necessary. It really holds no purpose to the theme of the album, though I appreciate the phasey vocal effects in the verses. It adds something new that is missing in these slower tracks. I'm still just not sold on the chorus, and again, I'm a little bored with the vibe. Then Close Your Eyes is one of the better low-tempo songs. I like his flow a lot more in this one. The chorus is decent. There's just a little more to listen to on this one versus the other slower tracks. Then we get into the final song, and this one is called Special. And Tech has a habit of making the last song more of a heartfelt well, almost speaking to his fans sort of song. He's done that on many albums, and usually it's a pretty good cap to the album, and I don't think this one's any different. I really like the first part of his verse where he picks a more melodic route again. Once again, I wish he would have experimented more with that throughout the entire song, but all in all, it's a fun listen. It's a heartfelt message. It almost feels like he's speaking directly to his fans and talking about his experience with making music and how special his fans are to him, how special we are. And as a longtime fan, I listen to this and it makes you get a little emotional because, you know, you grow up listening to somebody your whole life and you really look up to them and you start to realize that they're getting old and they're gonna have to stop soon. And it's kind of sad. And, you know, this song kind of feels like a nod to the longtime fans. So with that being said, what do I think of this album as a whole? Well, let's run it through my list of questions. First off, does it vibe? Is this an album that you can sit back, light a candle, put your earbuds in, and just vibe out, have a drink or something? I think so. I think there's enough on this album that is vibe worthy. There are some slower songs that kind of get a little boring, but there are enough in there that do have a nice vibe to them that I'll say yes. Second, does it slap? Is this an album that you're gonna put on when your friend hands you the aux cord on the road trip? Are you gonna put these songs on your gym playlist? Absolutely. I think there's more than a couple songs that are gonna be living on gym playlists, and Tech9ne's pretty good at that, so of course he checks on this category. And third, does it break ground? Did this album do something really special? Is it before its time? Is it really original? Is it going to impact the genre or music as a whole? No, this isn't the Thriller of hip hop. There's nothing groundbreaking going on here. It's just another album. Very few things that I review are gonna check this box, and if they do, they're probably gonna get a very good rating. And the last question that you've been waiting for, what's my grade for it? So considering that there are some really fun tracks on here, Tech remains versatile and sharp. There are some memorable features, but there are some songs I could have comfortably lived without or changed some things about. There are some areas that could have been improved. I give it a C-. This album does have some redeemable qualities, but it's not his best work. There are moments that get a little drab. There are moments I wish I could have changed some things on, and all in all, there are probably 5 songs that I could have lived without, and I think the album would have been better if some of them wouldn't have made the cut, and it would have been a little shorter, and it would have tightened the theme up a little more. What would you rate it? Were there some things you would change about it if you were him? Was it perfect? And what else do you want to see me review? Please like and share this with your friends. It is a ballsy move to make a new YouTube channel in 2021. It is a hard thing to do. So if you like this and you want to see more, please share it with your friends, hit like, hit subscribe to see more, and go follow me on TikTok. I'll link my socials below. I hope you like this video. I will see you again soon. I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.